Still, if you call me an Andhbhakt, I don't know what to say. I will only tell you that you are having the mind of a child if you think only one political party is good, another political party is bad. June 22nd was the date when, through an executive order, government notified the amendments that they are going to bring into FCRA. June 28th was the date when Sonam Wangchuk actually started his hunger strike. Many types of proxy wars were being done by the NATO countries, and one among that was to fund agencies inside India which will write articles, publish articles which are against the government. So if 1 rupee goes into any of the anti-governmental, anti-India activities, you are going to face shutdown plus investigations by the ED. Hello everyone, welcome to OnlyIAS English YouTube channel. I'm back here with another topic, which is FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, and the latest 2026 bill, which is yet to be taken up in the parliament. And we will see what are the issues surrounding it. Now, if you remember, I had told you in my classes also, especially when the CJP protest was happening in Jantar Mantar, that we cannot take the protest simply for its face value, that it is exclusively for the students who were affected because of the NEET paper leak. There were untoward elements in it. There were some nefarious elements in it. I had said this openly. And the reason again why I said that was because of the timing part, because I always believe in it. June 22nd was the date when, through an executive order, government notified the amendments that they are going to bring into FCRA. June 28th was the date when Sonam Wangchuk actually started his hunger strike. And especially after that date, you can see the protest actually intensifying. Now, if it was truly a students' protest, if it was truly for students' concerns, well, right now there are many states in this country where the students are really affected with the results that have come out because of the way the government exams were conducted in the respective states. And you can see there, for these movements, especially these student-led movements, which is obviously very peaceful, where you don't hear any anti-Indian India slogan or anti-army slogan or anti-cop slogans. You don't find any political leader going in their support, or any celebrity for that matter going and maybe, kissing their hand. None of this you're seeing. All right. Because see, bottom line is very, very simple. Yes, there are people who are genuinely affected. But otherwise, if you need a mass gathering for anything, there is a genuine thing that in India people ask. Mera kya fayda hai? Okay, if I come for your protest, what will I get out of it? That is the reason again why the government of India has decided to scrutinize each and every social media influencer who arrived at Jantar Mantar. And when you say scrutinize, it simply means to look into their bank accounts. From where are they getting their funds from? Who are their funders? Getting the picture here. See, you cannot have a selective outrage, right? Oh, what happens in Jantar Mantar, that is great thing. But what is happening in Jharkhand, oh, that we are not going to bother because it is just a state level issue. How can you do that? Because both are students at the end of the day. Getting my point here. So what is FCRA's presence in all of this is, if you actually see the beginning of this, 1976. Foreign Contribution Regulation in 1976, which was enacted during emergency. It regulated the acceptance of foreign contributions and foreign hospitality by political parties, election candidates, legislators, judges, government servants, and voluntary organizations to prevent foreign influence in India's political and public institutions. See, this you must understand in the larger context of the Cold War era. Back then, as you all know, we were very closer towards the former Soviet Russia, a communist country. And we were following a policy of socialism, which actually kept us alienated from the Western world. So, many types of proxy wars were being done by the NATO countries, and one among that was to fund agencies inside India, which will write articles, publish articles, which are against the government. So you must understand this whole aspect of, doing this proxy war by writing articles or publishing reports, this, that, etc. by running NGOs. This is not something which happened all of a sudden. This is like a policy which was adopted by the Western world, and it is there since 1976, or rather even before that. Got the point here? First comprehensive legislation to safeguard India's sovereignty, democratic institutions, and national interests from external influence. So you must understand, external influence is not something as some opposition leaders or some media outlets may say, this is just, BJP's creation. There is no such thing. No. This was there before even BJP was born, I guess. All right. 1984. Implemented through the 1984 ordinance and subsequent amendments were made. This was the first major amendment that was done to the 1976 Act. Mandatory registration with the Ministry of Home Affairs for the associations receiving foreign funds. Expanded the definition of foreign contribution and political party. You must understand here at this point, even political parties were getting what? Contributions from abroad. Brought subsequent recipients within the Act. Introduced prior permission, audit requirements, and stronger penal provisions, again in 1984. Got the picture here? So this is, so let us establish the fact that foreign funding for influencing the domestic policies or politics in India or in any other Asian country or an African country, this has been a trademark policy of the West. Because that is how they toppled governments. Fund through the opposition or proxy groups of the opposition, then create a coup or get the students on the road, create a massive protest and a massive outrage. Because if I've told you, mass hysteria, once it takes over, a crowd will behave like a mob. 3 people are hitting one cop, 4 are standing and watching, and there are 400 behind them. One more will come and hit the cop, means now the entire 400 will come and hit the cop. And when you finally ask them, why did you hit? Everybody were hitting, so even I went and hit. This is the logic there. Shifted FCRA from a simple regulatory law to a structured compliance and monitoring framework. 2010. Foreign Contribution Act 2010 replaced the 1976 Act. Replaced the earlier law with a modern compliance framework. Introduced mandatory renewal every 5 years. Stricter eligibility conditions, suspension and cancellation of registration, disposal of assets, inspection powers, adjudication, appeal mechanism, and compounding of offences. All of these were introduced by the 2010 law. Marked a shift from merely regulating to ensuring transparency, accountability, and national security. So, during the UPA era also, the nuts and bolts on 2010, that is the FCRA Act, was tightened further. But I have told this again in my current affair class, the Kudankulam nuclear power plant is the classic example of this. Now, when the power plant was being inaugurated, now the foundation or the foundation stone was laid by Rajiv Gandhi. But the inauguration of Kudankulam nuclear power plant was done by Manmohan Singh. Yes, our policies, etc. were a larger reason, but there was a massive protest near the Kudankulam nuclear power plant by the people in that area. Some of them even went into the sea and stood there holding placards. But finally, the plant got inaugurated, and the very people who actually opposed the plant, they are now taking the benefit of it. The electricity, obviously. The fact of the matter is, you must understand here, even with India's nuclear program also, there was immense pressure from the West. The reason being that our nuclear power program, a 3-stage nuclear power program, which will make us self-sufficient, was given by Homi Bhabha back in the 1950s. Somehow mysteriously he died in a plane crash. Got the point here? If he was alive, probably India would have achieved self-sufficiency in nuclear power ages ago. Got the point? And now again we are back on track. Taking it further forward, 2011, FCRA rules notified, prescribe procedures for registration, prior permission, designated bank account, maintenance of account, annual returns, inspections and renewals. FCRA Amendment in 2012 clarified procedural requirements, reporting obligations and implementation issues under the 2010 Act. Now, all this, if you see, they did bring in rules. That is the rules from 1976 to 2010, if you see. They required greater monitoring, greater auditing, all of that. But the problem you must understand here, we had not yet gone into the digital mode. Things were still on pen and paper mode. Because internet obviously was a luxury back then. Correct, 250 rupees or something you need to pay to get just 1 GB of data. And internet penetration was also very low. So because everything was in pen and paper mode, it was very difficult actually to monitor the NGOs as well as their bank account. 2015 FCRA Amendment Rules simplified certain procedural requirements, revised application forms, and strengthened reporting norms. Finance Act of 2016 rationalized provisions relating to foreign funding received by political parties through retrospective amendments linked to the definition of foreign source. This is one of the most critical aspect here. What is the critical aspect? Why do I call it a critical aspect? Foreign funding received by political parties. It was made easier for the foreign funds to reach our political parties. And because all the political parties stands to benefit from it, practically nobody raised a voice against this. Still, if you call me an Andhbhakt, I don't know what to say. I will only tell you that you are having the mind of a child if you think only one political party is good, another political party is bad. Where everybody stands to gain, note the point, people. Nobody will say one word against it. Clear? Finance Act 2018 further amended provisions relating to political parties and foreign funding, expanded retrospective applicability. All this actually made easier for political parties to get foreign funding. 2020 FCRA Amendment. This was the first proper amendment that took place under NDA rule. Prohibited transfer of foreign contributions to other NGOs. What do you mean by that? Transfer of foreign funding to other NGOs. That is, if I am already running an NGO, I received foreign fund. I will, whatever money I have received as foreign fund, now that I will donate it to another NGO. Wow, I have such a big heart. That was prohibited under the 2020 amendment. Mandated the receipt of foreign funds only through the State Bank of India, New Delhi main branch. Thanks to the entire digitalization, Aadhaar, PAN, bank account linkage, now they made it very mandatory that only through the New Delhi SBI bank you can get your foreign funds. Reduce the administrative expenditure limit from 50% to 20%. This was a landmark change, I would say. Because the whole idea of running an NGO was you will be getting your funds, let us say from abroad. You could easily say 50% of your expenses is going into administration, where you will draw a nice salary. Everybody will draw a nice salary. I have worked with NGOs earlier, and I have never seen a sad NGO. The office staff is happy. The people who are running it is happy. I always used to wonder, like, they're running an NGO, and how is it that they're all so chilled? Obviously, you can chill, right? When you are taking any amount of money as salary, you can chill. And it is coming from foreign. Who is going to ask? Made Aadhaar identification mandatory for key functionaries. Key functionaries means who all are involved in the decision-making aspect of the NGO. Their Aadhaar was made mandatory. Prohibited public servants from receiving foreign contribution. Strengthened renewal scrutiny and suspension provisions. This was the most comprehensive reform since 2010, significantly tightening transparency, traceability, financial accountability, and regulatory control over foreign funded organizations. But it was not just FCRA that actually led to giving a death blow to the NGOs in our country. You actually see 2015 Black Money Undisclosed Foreign Income and Assets Act 2015. If at all you're having any black money with you, now it is the time to disclose it. One-time penalty you pay and all your troubles will be over. Government had brought that rule. So some of the NGOs went on to declare, we have. Then obviously, we cannot forget demonetization and cash transaction restriction. See, demonetization literally made it impossible for cash transactions and you had to go online. And once you go online, obviously, tracing your account, tracing your sources, everything becomes easy. PAN, Aadhaar linkage and digital KYC norms, that is know your customer norms, this made it even more difficult. Goods and service tax. Now GST was being levied on NGOs' certain activities. So wherever NGO is delivering any service or the NGO is acquiring any goods, GST became important for them. So they started getting registered under GST. So obviously when you register under GST, what will happen? Again, everything is scrutinized. So even if the income tax department misses out on something, the indirect taxes department, that is CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, they are not going to miss out on anything. Mandatory PAN and e-filing of all your income and expenditure. Finance Act of 2020, which we already saw, time-bound registration, re-registration, online verification of charitable status. That means you are running a charity. Whatever you are doing, you have to register yourself or you have to re-register yourself as per the new rule. CSR Rules Amendment. It became very mandatory for NGOs to receive CSR funds more than funds from outside. You take your money from CSR. So what happens now? Corporate social responsibility. Corporates are giving, let us say, 2%, average of the 2% of their profits from last 3 years to an NGO. So I know what is the source. And corporates are based out of India. So I know from where the money is coming. Now NGOs have no choice because the new rule says what? Only 20% of administrative expense. Now they literally have to run their NGO properly. Strengthen PMLA compliance, which is what is PMLA? Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Remember, during the last 10 years or 12 years, if you see, 2 agencies of the central government that has become very powerful. One is Enforcement Directorate, the other is NIA. And ED has a conviction rate of more than 90%. With that, it became even more difficult for NGOs to what? Launder money. You would have got money from foreign. Now you cannot simply go and give it to somebody else. Simply you cannot withdraw the money and, buy some asset in somebody's name. All that came to a stop. Digital Personal Data Protection Act, rules for collection, storage and use of personal data. That all the data, whatever you are having, you should maintain it properly. Otherwise, you will be penalized again. Enhanced bank KYC and financial monitoring. Literally, like to put it in Hindi, Jeena haram kar diya. For NGOs, it became very difficult to run their operations in India, especially if you are getting fund from abroad. Otherwise, also, if you are talking about as an NGO to run operations in India, it became very difficult. And how do we know it has become difficult? Well, the data speaks for itself. Observe here. So, till 2014, more or less 41, 40, 40. The numbers are pretty stable here. Stable high numbers of FCRA registrations. Around 40,000 NGOs. More than 40,000 NGOs with FCRA registrations means they were getting funds from abroad. Now see the magic. Post 2014, there is a decline, 39. Then a sudden drop to 36. Then 34, 31, 29, 26, 22, 16, 15, 14. And currently, as of 2026 May, it is standing at 14,455. A whopping decline of 64.7% of FCRA related NGOs since 2012. That is not a small number. So don't you think the NGOs, whichever ones are there now who are remaining, will they be very, very happy about, FCRA is getting tightened even further? Wow. Do you think so? No. So don't you think they will try everything possible to ensure that their source of income is not disturbed? Because for them, the villain is who? The government. Government is tightening it further and further means they won't be able to carry on with their activities. See, if you are a genuine NGO, government is making the rules tightened. You don't have to worry about anything. But if you are not a genuine NGO, you are indulging in anti-India activities. You have all the reason to worry. Got the picture here? Cancelled registrations alone, 22,498. Deemed expired, 15,206. Deemed expired means they have not even bothered to renew it. Because obviously, if you are going to renew means you will have to comply. Amidst all this, with all of this now comes FCRA 2026 Amendment. And what are the features here? One is activity-specific registration. One NGO, one activity. Earlier, under broad category, you can have any number of activities under you. Now it is NGO must register for specific approved purposes from a prescribed schedule. That means government will give a list of activities. From that only you should pick one. State specific. Earlier that was not the case. Earlier, one time registration, you're valid all over India. Now it is must specify the states or union territories where foreign funds can be utilized. Existing NGOs have 1 year to update their approved areas. That means if I already have a registration, okay, for the state of Kerala, now I want to do some activity in the state of Karnataka, then what should happen? I should again go and re-register. Religious activities. No detailed list of permissible activities were there under the earlier laws. Now what it is? Rules explicitly identify permissible faith-based welfare activities and exclude proselytization. That is, religious conversion won't be entertained. Got the picture here? Definitely this is going to affect certain religious communities in India. I am not going to take any name. You may Google and find it out. Renewal of registration. Renewal based mainly on compliance with statutory conditions. Whereas this was the earlier condition. Whereas currently what is the case? NGOs must demonstrate utilization of at least 10 lakh in foreign contribution during the preceding 2 years. That means 2024 and 2025, they should show that at least 10 lakh worth of welfare activity they have done in the last 2 years. They have not done that. They won't get their registration renewed. Enhanced annual reporting. Annual returns contain broad financial disclosure. Now, mandatory, project-wise, activity-wise, ultimate donor disclosures, along with website and social media details. Your entire horoscope. I've always told you, social media is being increasingly monitored by government agencies. That is why I keep on telling you, for the love of God, stay away from it. You are only watching some funny videos or some workout videos like me, nothing to worry. But unnecessarily in your feed, if you start getting anything pro-government or anti-government, stay away from it. Even a like, even one comment from you, it can have huge repercussions. Please understand that very, very clearly. And just because, oh, okay, I'm a supporter of BJP, I will say something against Congress. What if the state where you're staying, it is a Congress rule? You will get arrested. Got the point here? Now, in many, many states, those reports are also coming. You say anything against the people who are in power there, you are getting arrested. Or you are being warned by the cops not to say anything against the chief minister. All right. Which chief minister am I talking about? Please put it up in the comment section. Enhanced. So, that is done. Designated authority. There was no dedicated authority for management of foreign funded assets. Now, what is this dedicated authority? A designated authority will be created by the government of India. So, what will this authority do? I will tell you. So, let us say the NGO did not get their registration renewed. All right. Whatever properties they have bought under or using the foreign fund, they will all lapse to the designated authority. Creation of a designated authority to manage assets when registration lapses or is cancelled. Every asset, including a car, if I have bought using those foreign funds, it will lapse to the designated authority. This is in fact the most, I would call it the most dangerous clause that the government of India has brought in. Because you are going to lose everything. It is not just that you will lose your registration. Whatever you have purchased, everything will go. Provisional vesting of assets. Section 15 provided for vesting but lacked detailed procedures. That means earlier also there was a law as to what should happen if the assets goes to the government. But it was not very clear. Foreign funded assets will vest provisionally with the designated authority until registration is restored. So, till your registration is restored, it will remain with whom? Designated authority. All the assets you have purchased using that foreign fund. What if it gets cancelled? Well, you will lose your assets permanently. The land that you bought, the vehicles that you bought, basically the movable and immovable properties, whatever you have purchased using the foreign fund, everything, gaya. Permanent vesting of assets bill. No explicit provision for permanent vesting after prolonged non-restoration. Assets permanently vest if registration is not restored within the prescribed period. Proceeds are credited to the Consolidated Fund of India for public purpose. Even more brilliant. Whatever assets were there, everything will go back to where? Consolidated Fund of India. Protection of religious institutions. No express statutory safeguard. Designated authority must preserve the religious character of places of worship and cannot alter or repurpose them. So let us say you have constructed a church or you have constructed a mosque. All right, using the foreign fund. That will remain as it is. That you will not interfere. That you cannot interfere also because obviously religious institution. That character will remain as it is. But the funding part, that will go away permanently. Appeal mechanism. Limited statutory remedy against decision regarding vested assets. Right to seek revision within 90 days and appeal before the district judge. What do you mean by that? Basic point is, so your assets, everything went to the designated authority. Now you can file an appeal within 90 days with the district judge. Automatic cessation of registration. Registration automatically ceases if not renewed before expiry. That's it. You will lose your registration. You will lose your assets. Punishment. Maximum imprisonment proposed to be reduced to 1 year with rationalized penalties. That is criminality. Criminalization that has been reduced. You will not go to jail for 4 or 5 years for not complying with it. Maximum is 1 year. What about the rest of the punishments? It will be mostly in the nature of fines. Investigation. Prior central government approval required before state agencies initiate FCRA investigations. So in any FCRA investigation state wants to do, state will have to go for what? Prior approval of the central government. Now this last slide is just for your information. So current active registrations, if you see, this is around, it is around 14,455. Okay. These are the new compliance requirements. Which are the NGOs most likely to be impacted? Small NGOs, dormant organization, single project organization, multi-state NGOs who have not updated themselves. Humble estimate is at least 5% of NGOs will get affected. Even then, 720 is what we are talking from the 14,000. Moderate, 1,450. High scenario, 2,170. Very high, more than or close to 3,000. That means we are looking at a world where FCRA registered NGOs will come probably. If this is going to happen, very high scenario is going to happen, means it will come crashing down to less than 10,000. And eventually it will reduce. Because this, I feel this is only the starting point. The rules are only going to get tighter and tighter. So if 1 rupee goes into any of the anti-governmental, anti-India activities, you are going to face shutdown plus investigations by the ED. And if 1 rupee in that it is found that has come from some organization that is notorious for terrorist financing, then NIA also will come. Getting the point here. So this rule or law is only safe for those NGOs who are strictly following all the rules of Government of India. Otherwise, they are done. So the agencies whichever were taking foreign funding and then indulging in anti-governmental activities especially, they are in for some detailed trouble. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. Hope you understood the entire topic and its importance. As usual, PDF is given in the description. I expect a question on it even either in the internal security GS3 or even in GS2 for that matter. So let me know which other topic would you like me to take in the next week's video series. God bless you all. Take care.